if I give you a 12-ounce glass of water, that 12-ounce glass, if I pour 5 gallons of water into it, there's only so much that can go into it. Yeah, the rest just overflows. Yeah. And our identity is like that glass of water. If that identity shifts to a 5-gallon bucket, doesn't mean there's 5 gallons of water in there, but it can hold more.
Just got here for Michael's mastermind. It was actually an unexpected thing, right? David Gonzales invited me and Preston Smiles out here just to kind of check out what's going on, meet some people, do some networking and connecting. Gonna check it out, see what it's all about. So, yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Incredibly talented, and this is a bright light in the world. Incredible human
Thank you. Thank you.
Doing
Humble.
so much good, shining the light on those through so much.
Man, those are good, man. Yeah, buddy. What's your name, man? Mike, you got a card? So, some people believe in, I don't know where you land on this, but some people actually don't believe in choice. A lot of philosophers like Sam Harris, for example, do not believe in free will.
But what's the difference between, you and somebody else who had the same situation that didn't do that?
I think you had the hunger. Tony Robbins says the prerequisite of all growth is hunger. Not everyone gets hungry.
But how do we get somebody to get that hunger? It's kind of like what she's saying.
I think it goes to the psychological leverage point. That's, you got to find that, and you found it. Yeah. A lot of people don't find it.
That's what it is, right there, right? So, yeah, that's what it is. He's seen it too, right? Yeah.
Emotion.
Yeah.
Yep. Where does the hunger come from? Emotion. Yep. If I could activate that part of my body, I'm in, right? And then I'm gonna do that thing, right? Yeah. I'll believe the thing if I feel the thing.
So you had to open up to vulnerability then.
Yeah, for that was on myself. Yes, you have to look at yourself honestly, right? I guess I would say something will trigger somebody to want to change. You know what I'm saying? If something is not working, there is something that will trigger somebody. That's what it was for me. Everybody else has to find out what it is for them. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. I wanted to ask real quick, how did you get started? Like, how did you get on this path? And why the positivity path? What led you here?
Actually, the first time my mom bought me a ticket when I was 19 to a Peter Lowe's Success Seminar. I heard guys like Colin Powell and Zig Ziglar speak. And they talk about, and they talk about, read a book for every day for 30 minutes and journal and study and set goals and set intentions.
Brain flowing.
Yeah, and it's like, and that you actually can create your future with your choices, with who you are, with your with the people you surround yourself with. They dictate your destiny. I like to ask a lot of my members, what does the environment have to look like for success to be inevitable for you? So what if we embrace that concept? And so I essentially became an environmental designer without calling it that back then.
I was just about to say that. You're an environmentalist, right? Without being the truest sense of the word.
I think we all get caught up in narratives around, hey, this person did this, I should do that too. Warren Buffett built his businesses this way, Elon Musk did it this way, or whatever. And so that's what I thought I was supposed to do, is like build these companies, and then I had the authority to mentor and coach other people, even though that was a central part of my purpose all along.
You're hosting a mastermind with a lot of entrepreneurs. How did you get specifically here?
Well, I went through a lot of epic failures along the way. So like I went through a season where, like 2018, where everything fell apart. We're all placing bets, right? We're like, I'm gonna roll the dice. This is a calculated guess that this is gonna work. And I knew when I started, like I went through a season where I started like 5 businesses in 2 years, not the brightest, unless you have like all the pieces operationally lined up. And but in that season, all those things were stripped away. Like sometimes you have to have what you've built stripped back down to your core for you to lift off again in a more intentional, aligned path. And that's what happened for me. My vision is become one of America's top entrepreneur mentors and coach entrepreneurs in the e-com and the expert category. People building expert-based brands, and that's what this is this weekend.
Gotcha. If you had one story to tell somebody, so you're a performance coach.
Yeah.
Somebody, they don't believe in themselves, they don't think they can do it, but they see other people, they're comparing themselves to other people. They see their lack of success according to them.
Yeah.
What do you tell them in order for them to overcome that?
I would say the number one thing I would share is that, you know, our setbacks are often our setups. If you think about a Boeing 737, this heavy metal bird has to face enough resistance that the wind forces it up into the night sky, right?
Wow.
That's 485 tons. So if it doesn't face enough resistance, it never gets off the ground.
You know, reminds me of, so they say on flight paths, it's interesting because the flight path isn't actually the flight path. They actually have a trajectory of going a specific direction to allow the wind to push them in the actual direction.
Yeah.
And it kind of reminds me of what you're saying right now. Because if you kind of allow yourself the freedom to actually go out there and do what you're supposed to do, then the trajectory of life, because you're doing what you're doing, will put you already in the direction that you need to go in. So you need that resistance to actually put you in the right direction.
Exactly.
Greatest failure as a coach and greatest success as a coach.
One of my clients, this is in 2019. Really upset with me, like pissed off, like and I was like, and I had invested extra time with her. I like really gone the extra mile to believe in her, to help equip her, but things weren't clicking. And I realized her identity hadn't shifted. In hindsight, then finally, like she's like at the beginning, she's like, Mike, I love you. You're amazing. You're so much better than all. And then 5 months into it, she's like, Mike, you suck. You know, I want a refund, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what happened? Like, and I realized her identity never shifted. Your identity is your lid, and it's part of your money story, right? Like the way I look at it is if I give you a 12-ounce glass of water, or that 12-ounce glass, if I pour 5 gallons of water into it, there's only so much that can go into it. Yeah, the rest just overflows.
Yeah.
And our identity is like that glass of water. If that identity shifts to a 5-gallon bucket, doesn't mean there's 5 gallons of water in there, but it can hold more.
Yeah. Greatest success.
Kristen Boss, amazing human, the breadwinner of her family, 6-figure hairstylist, making right at about 100 grand. And she was in a state of crisis. I didn't know this. Her house repairs were like $10,000 plus in the last like 30 days. Her husband was in a job transition and not making any money. And she really had to stretch, and she was like at this crisis of belief in a way. So I invited her to be a part of one of my programs, and I had to just nudge her off the fence and give her some guarantees. Kristen, if this doesn't work, if you go all out and this doesn't work, 6 weeks later, I'll give you your refund. She took the leap. We set a vision and we mind mapped, whiteboarded, did some NLP, had a roadmap that she could hit 360,000. By the end of the year, she did 700K in her first year.
Wow.
And this year she'll do easily 7 figures. And it was a combination of it, really what I called the aligned and prosperous expert pathway. First part is you rewrite your money story so you're aligned, the identity piece and your relationship with your self-worth. Second, find your zone of genius, your natural pathway to wealth, fulfillment, and impact. It's the greatest accumulation of clues about who you are and what you're meant to do that you'll ever have. And then the third part, find your 4% client. Have you ever heard the 4% client? The concept is this. If the 80-20 rule is true, which it is, top 20% produces 80% of results. Well, if that's true, why not apply that again to the top 20%? So what's the top 20% of the top 20%? It's 4%. Can that produce 80% of 80%, which would be 64% of your revenue?
Wow.
So then you design your business model around your 4% client that produces your 64% of your revenue, because they can become your brand evangelist and your champion, and they're the people that you love working with. That bring you life.
Yeah.
Fourth step, you create an irresistible offer. I have a 12 keys to an irresistible offer for that 4% client. And then fifth, removing yourself from the operations, because great operators get tired, great business owners get rich. You go into building an A-player team, and then six, you continue to build and elevate your expert authority.
Oh man, that was just a.
Thanks, dude. Appreciate it.
I think one of the biggest things for me is learning what drives people, number one, where they came from, number two, and how they repeat that process of success.
Yeah.
I think that is what makes people relatable. It makes your process repeatable, and then it inspires people to do the same.